utilize technicalities to get by on the system. Obviously, YouTube is not pro pedophilia. If they were, EDP 445 would never have been removed from the actual platform. Remember, EDP 445 was caught on a sting by a vigilante group. They themselves also got nuked off of YouTube for obviously, violating TOS and whatnot as well. But that wasn't to say that EDP didn't get removed. EDP tried coming back and making multiple actual channels on the platform. YouTube hired John Wick to find each and every single one of those channels and snuff the life out of them, which they did. Now, it's not to say YouTube doesn't actually have real life, actual bad people still on it. Obviously, it's a large website. It's going to have some problematic individuals, some people that may have self-admitted to harming animals, minors, and somehow are still on the platform simply because they're sitting over here in the veil of obscurity. That's the only reason they get through. But once you become someone as notorious as EDP, then of course YouTube is going to jump in and keep removing you. Nobody wants another apocalypse. Nobody wants another mainstream article of a potential sick criminal, alleged criminal, even on the platform. YouTube would rather trim the fat than deal with the issues after they come. That's the reality. But when it comes to these creators, when it comes to these alleged criminals abusing technicalities, this is what I mean, okay? When you produce content in such a manner and you violate or even try to rim the TOS a little bit, you're potentially facing an issue. Every time I cover subjects like this, it takes a lot out of me to not bring the full savagery, make fun of some intrinsic attribute, because really you're talking about a bad group of people. But the moment you do that, okay, the moment you make the most harmless little joke, again, talking about an intrinsic attribute, right? Something that they can't change bodily wise is what we're talking about. So something on their face, the way their faces, maybe some pudginess, all that, okay? Some intrinsic attribute that they can't control. Okay, if God played with the character creators on their face a lot, you can't mention it on a YouTube video. Because if you do, you rim the TOS a little bit, especially when it comes to harassment and cyberbullying. Now, the reality of it is that even if you make those jokes, a lot of creators make jokes like that, and nothing has happened to their channels. But that's not to say they're not sitting on a landmine that could blow off at any moment. And what I mean by that is, let's say you make a joke like that. The video's up for a couple days. It's up for weeks. It's up for months. It's up for a year. It's up for years. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you get an email in your drive, and it says, YouTube content policy violation has occurred. And then you get a strike on your channel. One warning, 3 strikes consecutively that are active, and you're gone. Okay, your YouTube channel is removed, and you can't even come back. You are banned off the site forever. It's a truly wild system. Now, of course, Max has actually been having a discussion with YouTube a little bit. In fact, the best part to come out of it is this little tweet. I had a phone call with YouTube yesterday. We had an unexpectedly successful conversation about pushing the future of the platform in the right direction. I will be meeting up with a representative in person soon to discuss details, and will not stop pounding them until great changes have been made to benefit us creators. I want to extend my sincerest gratitude to all of you for spreading the message, both positive and negative, as well as take the time to gush about all of my colleagues who accepted the invitation to appear in my videos. You're all the most amazing and beautiful friends a man could ever ask for. I thank you so much for everything. Looks like YouTube takes our side, and I can't wait to see what 2020 brings us. So, again, Max, Nexpo, Nick Crowley, a lot of these are close friends of mine. They make content. We all make content in this, field. And the reality is we do have to play with the TOS as much as we can. Because, again, there are a lot of strikes that are headed to our channels if we choose to take things a slight nidge too far, okay? Or maybe we overlooked one tiny detail of the video. Now, the best part about this is YouTube, and I've hounded them as well. I know Charlie has made calls with Susan. I've talked to people at YouTube, and the reality with YouTube is, the thing that freaks me out about this is, every time I've ever had a discussion with YouTube, it's been the most positive sounding discussion. Whatever comes out of it is fucking questionable, because every time I've talked to YouTube, I haven't seen the results that I want to be seen. I remember when I got my video taken down for scams and deceptive practices, the Cash App one, immediately after I made a big stink on Twitter, when the video was restored, I was in touch with actual partner support. And, we brought about some really good points to them. We were like, hey, if you're going to implement a striking system, the striking system needs to accurately detail what actually happened in the video that caused the strike. And thankfully, YouTube now kind of gives you a time code regarding what aspect of the video was, I guess, inflammatory. But it's small strides like these that hopefully make the platform better for everyone. And I'm glad that Max is taking the side to at least push YouTube in a better direction. YouTube is obviously not pro-pedophilia, it never was. And unfortunately, sometimes stinks like this are the only things that cause YouTube to actually, I guess, listen to creators in some meaningful capacity. Now, how much of this is going to be tangible going forward? I hope a lot. I hope this makes investigatory content a lot easier. I actually hope it makes content like this not only easier, but actually more friendly to monetize for people who are making adult-focused content as well, too. And not only monetize, but content that isn't getting taken down with age restrictions in the search algorithm anyways. If you ever notice, YouTube will literally not even allow you to use the word fuck in the first 30 seconds of the video. In fact, I don't even know if there is a budget for that specific word. Use it too many times, I don't know how many, you end up getting your video age restricted. And unfortunately, this is what I'm starting to see with some of my older investigatory content. It's like age restriction, age restriction, age restriction. And it makes sense. But I wish there was more consistency on the platform. This is a good sign coming through. And honestly, Pick a Side is over. This is something that's far off in the past now, and we're only looking into the future ahead of us. So hopefully, 2022 is a solid year for YouTube. It's a good way to start off. This is a good sign. One of the actual things I wanted to touch upon before I end this video was when this whole thing was going on, I saw a lot of comparisons to a situation known as the Matt What It Is scenario, and I honestly couldn't find the actual, comparison point, because while yes, in that regard, there was also a comparison to, YouTube supporting terrible behavior, it feels like when I watched that video, it was more geared towards, advertisers, the big brands that funnel money into YouTube to, remove their cash out, instead of targeting YouTube for bad moderation. I think that's a bad way to tackle anything, by going directly to the advertisers, when in reality you should be tackling the crappy moderation, or one-sided moderation and taking that. So, I didn't really get the actual comparison point on that, but I wanted to mention into this video, I did know about this, I did hear about this, and I wanted to really give my, opinion on, the actual difference between both of these scenarios, to pick a side and whatever Matt What It Is wanted to push. Well, let's keep the energy moving forward. This is me, Mutahar, and if you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike it if you dislike it. I know I was on a bunch of tangents, but frankly, this is a topic where we have a million things to say, and not enough time in the day to do so. I am out. Hello everybody, me Mutahar, and today's video is brought to you by our good old friends at Manscaped.com, our good old long-term friends. Ladies and gentlemen, they are in fact the global brand for men's grooming and hygiene products. You know, I love Manscaped because they offer the best tools. We're talking for your butt, body, and balls. Lately, they released the Lawnmower 4.0, which is in fact a waterproof electric trimmer. And now, you can get the ultimate Manscaped experience when you purchase the new and improved Performance Package 4.0. With the Performance Package, you really never have to worry about a complicated multi-step grooming regimen anymore. Everything is provided right there. It's an all-in-one kit that includes all the tools you necessarily need to get the ultimate man grooming experience. Let me tell you, be ready for almost anything. Because let me tell you, when I start grooming myself in the shower with this little beauty, I can maneuver all the way around my balls, and I actually feel confident because I won't have any nasty messes down there. Lord knows I don't want to relive that experience again. Lawnmower 4.0 has replaceable ceramic blades with skin-safe technology and a built-in LED. And with a new, cool, wireless, futuristic charging system and travel locking, you never have to worry about upgrading your trimmer game. You're already at the zenith. And after you have that juicy little shower, you're ready to apply some crop preserver ball deodorant. For that midday refresher, though, you gotta make sure you have some crop reviver ball toner spray with cooling aloe vera and anti-inflammatory properties. Your balls are gonna feel pretty premium. Manscaped is a lot more than just a ball trimming company. In fact, let's be honest here, they also have the new Weed Whacker nose and ear hair trimmer. And this thing is as a game changer as is the good old-fashioned lawnmower, because let me tell you, when you're pulling out the hairs from your nostrils, it don't feel too good. This takes away a lot of that pain, and no one needs pain in their life. And when you opt in for that full Performance Package 4.0, you get the biggest bang for your buck. You can enroll in the Peak Hygiene Plan and get ongoing refreshments of your favorite products delivered straight to your door, hassle-free. And for a limited time, if you join now, you get not one, but two gifts, the Shed Travel Bag and the Anti-Chafing Boxer Briefs. So yeah, go to Manscaped.com today and get 20% off plus free international shipping with the 2 free gifts when you use promo code SOG at checkout. Join the Manscaped movement today. Man maintenance for the modern gentleman. Your balls and your body will thank you. Hello guys and gals, me Mutahar, and PlayStation 4s are even more hackable than you can expect. Version 9.0, kernel level. Without a joke, ladies and gentlemen, this might be one of the biggest pieces of hacks that I've ever seen in the console gaming sphere. And if it's something you know about my channel is, occasionally from time to time, I like hacking basically any single system that I have. It could be Granny's Pacemaker, it could be a Super Nintendo, it could be a Game Boy Advance, it could be a DS, it could be a Wii U, but I'm most excited about about these new well, not new, but PlayStation 4s, which are the more advanced versions of all that previous hardware, much more powerful capabilities, and of course with more powerful capabilities comes more powerful emulation, comes a better game preservation, and the ability to mod a lot of these console games that I haven't been able to do before this day. Now, this is a new jailbreak that's come to us, and the reason it's so big and the reason I'm making a video on it is, quite honestly, it is a kernel level break. Now, we've talked about hacked PS4s before. I even showed you how to run Halo Master Chief Collection on an actual PlayStation 4 that was hacked before. This exact same slightly used PlayStation 4, and the reality is, a lot of things have changed since then. Again, may I remind you, this is a kernel level out of bounds jailbreak. In fact, let's look at the GitHub real quick together. PlayStation 4 9.0 kernel exploit, also known as Poops4, which obviously P for PlayStation, OOB for out of bounds, and S4 for the station and 4. But here you can go down in this project, you will find an implementation that tries to make use of a file system bug for the PlayStation 4 on version 9.0. The bug was found while diffing the 9.0 and 9.03 kernels. It will require a drive with a modified exFAT file system. Successfully triggering it will allow you to run arbitrary code as kernel to allow jailbreaking and kernel level modifications to the system. We'll launch the usual payload launcher on port 9020. So here it's giving you a bunch of patches, it's giving you a short how-to, but in general, let's get this started. So I'm going to be doing this in a live fashion today with you guys, and for this you're going to need obviously a PlayStation 4. Now you're going to want to have a flash drive as well, very important. I got a 64 gig one right here, but basically you need anything 2 GB and above. I got a 64 gig because that's what I had sitting around. But of course, as far as the PlayStation goes, the most important aspect is to make sure that this use slightly PlayStation 4, which by the way, Kijiji should really have an option to like verify even harder, because with the amount of games that the person I bought installed, this is not slightly used, by the way. May I remind you that this person was like halfway through Persona 5. If you're halfway through Persona 5, your PlayStation isn't slightly used anymore. I'm just putting it out there. But let's go to settings over here, all jokes aside. And if you look inside the avenue for what believes to be like system, you can see that right here. I've got version 7.55, which means I'm good. If you're above version 9.0 in this list, you're not going to be able to get anywhere, okay? You're too highly updated for this case. But let's say you're on version 7.55 or version 9.0 and below. You want to touch exactly version 9.0. So the way that we're going to do that is we're going to download a firmware file from PlayStation. But most importantly, first things first, you want to make sure you go to that juicy, network? And you want to make sure that connect to the internet, that's completely disabled. If it's not, you're going to have a bad time. Disable all internet access. Now here we're going to have a flash drive over here real quick, and if I can switch back to my PC, we're going to stick this into my computer over here and just get it running. So, let me just put it in, and lo and behold, ooh, that was a loud noise. Lo and behold, over here you can see that I have it registered on my system. Now you're going to format this, and you're going to format it to FAT32. Now if you have a 64 gigabyte flash drive, you may notice that Windows does not give you a FAT32 option. So for this, there are several tools that you can use. For instance, I went to this site called Richcroft Consultants Limited. Again, I don't know if I necessarily trust that specifically, but because I do everything in a virtual machine, I don't exactly care necessarily about how shady some softwares can be. So you're going to click this JPEG and download this tool, and it's a 76 kilobyte tool, and it literally allows you to format as FAT32. Again, I'm going to throw this into VirusTotal and just see what the results are. And it does, in fact, ring up... Look, I'm running it under a virtual machine, okay? I wouldn't recommend you download the software and run it on your bare system. Again, there are a bunch of other avenues. Just simply Google how to format as FAT32. You're going to need to do that. If you're using Linux, you can actually use a command line tool. But I'm just showing you how to do this in Windows because I know most people are using Windows. Open this tool once and you'll notice, here's FAT32 format. So again, go to Drive, and inside the drive, you're gonna pick the exact drive path that you use. The way that you figure this out is open up File Explorer, and inside over here you can see that my local disk is C, so you don't want to format C, and you probably can. And this is my big 1 terabyte drive. I definitely don't want to format that, or I'm gonna actually punch my monitor. And D is the flash drive. You can tell because I have 59 gigs of free space. So usually with the flash drive is 64, you'll have slightly lower space. But basically at this point, you want to pick drive D in this list. You want to just set that to like the highest allocation size, especially if you're dealing with bigger files like we are. And just give it a label, okay? So you can call this PS4, you can call it butt plug, I don't care. You're gonna hit quick format and hit start, and basically, once you've done that, it'll be a quick little job, and now you should be able to actually stick things into this drive. So, let's get a copy of PlayStation 4's version 9.0 firmware. So, over on the site Wololo, which I'll try to leave the links in the description as much as I can, you'll find out that right over here they actually have a couple Internet Archive links of PlayStation System Firmware 9.0. There are other websites you can use. For instance, this is Dark Software's official firmware. You're going to have to register an account, but basically you're going to scroll down this list and download where it says version 9.0. So it's about 467 megabytes. You can make an account, download it, but you want version 9.0 specifically, not 9.0 beta 2.0 or 9.03. You want 9.00, simple as that. Whatever you do not want to go to PlayStation's website and download from them. They will always give you the latest version. And again, the only real difference between 9.00, which added a bunch of new main features, and version 9.03 is the system software updates improve system performance. Yeah, this basically means PlayStation found this exploit and patched it. I mean, I guess the performance may be better, but we all know what's really going on with this bullshit patch note. Now, in order to update the PlayStation to that version 9.0 that we were just getting, what you want to do is